So today we're going to be doing another one of these sketch giveaways. I think I'm going to call them SKETCHAWAYs. It's just a little bit more succinct. I think we're going to go down to a little tea shop around here, a milk tea place, and see if I can do some sketching and find someone to give the sketch to. One thing I want to talk about in this video first is something that probably a lot of you are wondering about when you're watching these is, are people like staring at me as I'm walking down the street talking to myself? Yes, they are, but they would be anyway. And that's kind of something I just want to talk about in this video. Being in China, I think more so than any other Asian country, one thing that you definitely will get if you're a foreigner or you don't look Chinese is people constantly staring at you, especially in some of these newer cities. Now, why is that? Well, the reason is that a lot of people that live in these cities haven't been here for a long time. So they may have suddenly come into money, like I had talked about in one of my videos about people getting money suddenly for their houses that they get kicked out of, and they move into these cities and they buy an apartment. So a lot of these people have been relocated here, and they're not used to a lot of the things that they're seeing. And that's not just foreigners being here. They're not used to, some of the public transportation. They're not used to driving if they have a car. I heard a friend of mine once explain it this way, and I think this is a really, really accurate way to describe what basically is happening here, this phenomenon all over China. And it's kind of like that TV show, The Beverly Hillbillies. If you're not familiar with the TV show, it was a TV show that was popular in like the 60s, maybe the 70s, about this family who lived way out in the boonies, and they struck oil, made a bunch of money, and moved to Beverly Hills, which is like a really expensive part of South California. And the whole show was kind of based around this premise of this country bumpkin family dealing with life in the city and all the funny things that happen. Trying not to die here while I video. You see these Chinese that are coming from these country locations, and they're trying to deal with all these things that happen. And I think that a lot of the kind of, how would you say it? A lot of the kind of the conflict that you have here, or some of the misunderstandings or some of the issues that you see here in China are a result of that, of these people coming from the countryside, moving in and really not knowing how to fit into this new life. And I really feel for them, because that would be really hard if you're living in one of these, kind of backward places, and suddenly you're in the city and people expect you to act a certain way and behave a certain way, and you don't know how to do that. So that's something that they have to face. Anyway, so yeah, just to reiterate, basically I get stared at no matter what. Whether I'm holding a camera or not. I don't actually feel like having this camera with me has made people stare at me more, which is kind of strange and interesting. It's about the same, actually. But the nice thing about it is that if they are staring, they have a reason to stare. And it's actually made some people like want to ask me, like, hey, what are you doing? And then we can, have an interesting conversation about that. So overall, it's been positive. I wouldn't be doing this still if I had a lot of negative experiences with it. Like I said before in the last video about why I'm vlogging, yeah, it's been really interesting. A lot of positive things have come from this, so I'm really enjoying it. Anyway, let's get some lunch real quick. I'm gonna get lunch at this McDonald's here, and then we're gonna do some sketching. Alright, so I think I found a tea shop that will work perfectly, and apparently Spider-Man also approves.
段子给你尝一下，这是我们做的一点点，给你们试喝的。
谢谢你，谢谢我会尝试。 there's the drawing, and again, lots and lots of perspective errors, but oh well, that's how it is. Alright, I'm gonna give it to him. 这个送给你。
哇，谢谢。
我不知道你喜不喜欢这种素描画，
非常喜欢。
我就喜欢 OK， 送给你。
经常过来好吗？
好的，你们的那个这个茶特别好喝，真的很好喝，而且不贵，9块钱，所以觉得一定会。
这个我会把它。
哦，也不行，不行。
我很喜欢，我真的。
不行，很高兴认识。好的，我先走，拜拜，谢谢，拜拜。That was another one. These are so fun to do. In China, tipping is not a thing, so even if their service is really good, there's no way to express other than saying thank you. Usually, they don't have like a tip jar or anything. But yeah, just be able to give something away, especially when their service is good. Just yeah, it's a nice thing to do. Alrighty, well that's it for this video. As always, thanks for watching.